Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Today's Pat Gray Unleashed is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Your online activity shouldn't be public. Protect yourself at expressvpn.com/unleashed. All right, so more coronavirus news than you probably ever wanted to hear is on tap for the day. Also, it is another primary day, another big primary day, where several big states, Michigan and Washington, Missouri, are going to be decided, along with Mississippi, Idaho, and North Dakota. And Sanders leads in almost all of them. In fact, in Michigan, his lead...
Sanders?
No, Biden.
Okay.
Biden leads in almost all of them.
All right.
Sanders has been relegated again to an also-ran.
Wow.
It seems like. I mean, if these numbers hold true today, Biden is going to run away with this thing.
I'm calling it now, though. Bernie's going to win Washington and Missouri. Write it down.
Really?
Yeah. I think this thing...
He's way behind in Missouri. He's not going to win Missouri.
Okay.
He might win Washington. He's up by 1 point, not even a point. He's up by half a point in Washington, according to polls.
What's the latest poll there in Missouri there?
58.7 to 39.6.
Well, that's...
Biden by 19.
That's quite the margin then.
Yes, it is.
I guess the last poll I saw was single digits, so wow. Okay.
In Michigan, it's 57.5 to 40.5. He's up by 17 there. Now, other polls have him up by 20 to 30 points. He's way ahead in Michigan. He's going to crush Sanders in Michigan. In Washington, again, Sanders by half a point right now. Missouri, Biden's up by 19.
Whoa.
In Mississippi, there's a good chance Biden will win this. He's up by 44 points, 71 to 27. Jeez. In Idaho, it's really close. He's up by 1.6 there, 49.5 to 47.9. North Dakota, he's up by 5.6 points, 51 to 46, 51.6 to 46. So then we go to the Northern Marianas.
Oh, okay. What's going on there? Because that's a big haul.
That's
right
a big
there.
one. It's a big one. You probably get half a delegate there. I don't know if it's that big delegate pool, but
let's not get crazy.
Biden leads by 13.5 there. And then you look forward to March 17th. So if he does really well today, if he does what he's expected today, these numbers are going to change for the better for Biden anyway. But right now in Florida, Biden is up by 35 points.
Whoa. It's the villagers' vote that he's getting.
Well, he sang the song. I mean, he should win there.
Yeah, he should.
He should. He's been committed to the villages for a long time.
I mean, it is America's friendliest hometown.
That's what he says.
Mm-hmm.
He's up in Illinois, 54-43. He's up in Ohio by 10. He's up in Arizona by 12. I think this, then you go to March 24th even. In Georgia, he's up by 25 points. Jeez, he is, what a comeback. Because he was written off before Super Tuesday.
Well, that's what happens when the entirety of your party gets behind you and seeing you that shell that they can be a part of and guide policy. And I am very nervous with the coronavirus situation and the economy and how this could drastically affect November.
Yeah.
This is rough, but yeah, you're right. Though it does look like Biden is going to run away with this officially now.
Oil was hit hard yesterday. Went down 24%. The futures are actually up this morning for the stock, but there's almost nowhere else to go. They went down 2,000 points yesterday.
Man.
So they're up to start the day by 3%. The Asian markets are up 1%. But yesterday was the worst day since 2008 for the stock markets. S&P 500 dropped by more than 7% as well. So not a good day. And hopefully today will be a day of recovery. Now, there are 5 congressmen, including Trump's future chief of staff, Mark Meadows, who shook the president's hand, and they're going to self-quarantine after CPAC. Because whoever this mystery person is, They're not naming him, but a lot of people were apparently in contact with him, including several Congress people, Senator Cruz. I don't know if the president interacted with him or shook his hand. No?
Neither he nor Pence.
That would just really suck if the president were to contract this stinking disease. Jeez.
Well, he's
so
had
many ways,
close contact with several people.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, so
I mean, these 5 people have all shaken his hand since they were in contact with the guy or woman at CPAC. So, I don't know. And it's so contagious that just being around somebody apparently gives you the disease. It's very, very virulent.
Oh, well, I think you and I in particular, and most people in this building, probably built up an immunity the longer we've worked with one Jeff Fisher.
That's what I'm hoping.
Any kind of virus that may be spreading.
That's what I'm hoping.
That's good. Wow, futures up. They just keep climbing. Now they're up 4%.
Wow.
So
yeah,
looking good, right?
Up almost 1,000. We'll see if that holds when it opens, but I sure hope so.
Okay.
So that's helpful.
That is. See, that's
There you
good
go.
news. Yay!
Yeah, good news.
All right, you get a little good
little
news
bright spot
on your Tuesday morning.
in this hurricane of suck.
Hurricane of suck. Oh, wait. The Twitter handles are changing right now. And 3, 2, 1.
Representatives Eric Swalwell and Rick Crawford are reintroducing a 2013 bill that would enable members of Congress to virtually participate in committee hearings and vote remotely on suspension bills from their home districts.
I love this. If in the future, when we have nothing good to say about Eric Swalwell, we could say, wait, he's
At
the
least
guy who
this.
filed the bill to have people stay in their home districts.
Right.
Perfect.
With a Republican, but yeah, he was part of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason why they couldn't do this forever.
Yeah. And okay, you know how we mark in time, since 9/11, you haven't been able to fill in the blank.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to end up marking in time, hopefully, some good stuff like this, like filing bills and participating in committee hearings and voting from your district. Yeah, ever since that coronavirus, congressmen have been in their districts and not gone to D.C. except for, for speeches and stuff, State of the Union.
And ever since that time, they've been accessible to their constituents and have acted quite differently.
Yeah. See, that's what
we
I'm
need
hoping
to happen.
I hope some good comes out of this.
That would be great. Because I think that's one of the best steps we could take to get our country back. Just make them accessible every single day. They're just sitting in their little district, in their little office.
And they rotate around the state.
Yeah.
If they're senators,
It'd be great. And there's, in this day and age, there's no reason not to. Why wouldn't you? It would save the country millions or billions of dollars, and it would make them a little more hesitant about voting for crap they shouldn't be voting for.
I just thought of the hook. I got it, Pat. Don't you want to help the environment? Don't you want to cut down on fossil fuels and those back and forth from your district, flying across the country, all the pollutants in the air? Just stay home.
Yeah.
Stay home. There we go. That's how we get them on board.
I mean, they should be all over that with the climate change situation. They should be all over it. Mm-hmm. It shows the hypocrisy and that they really don't give a crap about global warming, climate change. They don't care. Otherwise, they would be taking steps like that. Mm-hmm. President Trump said yesterday he would press lawmakers to enact a payroll tax cut and ensure assistance is available to hourly workers amid the pandemic panic that's causing some economic problems. Trump said he'd reveal further details of the very dramatic steps.
Yeah, this afternoon we're going to get some details.
He was speaking at a White House briefing following a huddle with aides to weigh some options for an economic stimulus meant to blunt the economic fallout of this virus. We had that MSNBC clip of how giddy the anchors and the guests were about some of these possibilities. Take a look at this.
I was thinking about this in terms of politics, right? We talked about the business community finally not kind of sticking with Donald Trump. But this may be, and Nicole, I should mention this with little trepidation, but this may be Donald Trump's Katrina.
Yeah, you
wouldn't that be great?
Because of my role in that. I mean, let's just lean into that for a minute. I mean, Katrina was the moment when all of the things that felt incredibly incompetent about the Bush presidency, the appointment of Harriet Miers to the Supreme Court, the botched attempt to pass Social Security privatization. I mean, I lived it. I can go through the whole list. Were realized. We gave them a proof point that we were indeed incompetent, and also people died. I mean, this has the making structurally for the same kind of moment for
President Trump. And if there's any a moment that would shake that 40%, the folks who would allow him to shoot someone and write down, if there's any a moment, it's this one. Because it's babies, it's friends, it's loved ones.
It's old people in nursing homes that can't have their daughters and sons and grandchildren.
It's your nana, right? And so it seems to me that this is an event that could take down a president.
Does it? Does it seem like that? It just seems like, if people are dying and more people die, then that could be good for our agenda. I can't stand these people. They are despicable.
Yeah.
They're despicable human beings.
And everything they said there, as far as what could happen to this presidency because of the coronavirus, is factual. I mean, it could happen. Absolutely. But boy, you talk about celebrating. If these babies that they're seemingly so concerned about have to die to get Trump out of there, then it's totally worth it.
Babies?
Totally worth it. Yeah, right.
When you care about babies now all of a sudden? Really? That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Be so great to call him on that.
Yes, it would.
But of course, they never put anybody on those panels on MSNBC who's capable of calling them.
But I did think that was interesting yesterday when Pence had his daily press conference, and the only thing Trump had to say during that was that big dramatic things coming as far as tax cuts and stuff like that later today. Yeah. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. The stock market yesterday, how ironic was this? It was on an 11-year bull run, and to the day. Oh. And all those gains down the tube.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, so all that ground was... but again, the futures are looking... Yeah, futures are looking good. So here's hoping.
Also, the president did say that the coronavirus tests are beautiful.
Oh, that's good. They're beautiful tests?
They're beautiful tests. So I think that's positive. I want the test to be beautiful.
Yeah, yes.
And he said everybody who needs one will have one, which seems to be not as accurate as we may like it to be, according to some. But, he's trying to calm people down, and he's allowing Pence to do the other stuff, to be the realist and to talk about caution. And the president is just trying to calm people down.
And this theory of Pence being dumped for Nikki Haley, right?
It's not going to happen.
Okay, if Pence, because he looks very presidential when he's doing these press conferences and stuff. Mm-hmm. If this coronavirus thing turns around, so we've talked about the gloom and doom for November based on the current trajectory, but if this thing turns around and they get this thing locked down really soon, it's going to have just the opposite effect as far as the stature of Mike Pence.
Yeah.
Because he's running point on this.
If we keep this, to a low figure and it doesn't really sweep and get out of control, they're going to look great. 888-900-3393. Let me take 60 seconds and tell you about Tommy John. We both Keith and I love Tommy John underwear. It's
so comfortable.
Really, really comfortable. And it's revolutionary. And it's defined comfort for Americans everywhere, including us. Tommy John doesn't give an F. They give 3 of them: fabric, fit, and function. They obsess over every little detail, every little stitch by using proprietary fabrics that are, they're so soft.
I don't know how they do this.
And comfortable.
It's seriously.
They're like nothing you've ever worn before.
So good.
And it's available for women now as well. They've got Tommy John, a women's line, and you're going to love those. They're so confident in their underwear that if you don't love your first pair, you can get a full refund with their best pair you'll ever wear or its free guarantee. And these are the most comfortable underwear I've ever worn. Hurry to TommyJohn.com/unleashed for 20% off your order. 20% off your first order. That's TommyJohn.com/unleashed for that 20% off that first order. TommyJohn.com/unleashed.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
More and more we're starting to hear that everything that's going on right now is biblical. And I don't discount the possibility. I mean, there's going to be signs of the times, but we've had plagues sweep the planet before. Spanish flu, obviously. Bubonic plague in the Middle Ages. So that's happened before. But there are a lot of things going on concurrently. The coronavirus. The billions and billions of locusts wreaking havoc in Africa and Asia. We got earthquakes in diverse places. You got volcanic eruptions. Are these the times that we're foretold? I don't know, but this is the stuff we're supposed to be looking for, thinking about, and preparing ourselves.
Huh.
Right? I mean,
all right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's tough.
I mean, they're not gonna come with banners. Hey, this is the sign we told you about. So it's up to us to figure that out.
And I'm thinking that if Jesus is coming back, like a thief in the night, he's probably not coming back today because it's pretty obvious right now, So it might be a while yet.
I hope so. But yeah, there's an awful lot going on.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's an awful lot going on.
Fun time to be alive,
isn't it? Though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really is. The head of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey just tested positive for the coronavirus.
And then there's that.
I mean,
it's just the head of transportation for
Don't worry about it.
New York City region. But beyond that, everybody else is fine, right?
By the way, the city of Dublin canceled their annual St. Patrick's Day parade because of coronavirus fears.
Whoa. Now it's getting real up in here.
A smaller parade planned in Cork, which is in the south coastal
I'm not going to a town
area
named
of
Cork.
Ireland.
Cork.
That's also been canceled.
Oh, well.
Yeah, so you don't have to go there anyway.
Okay.
The Cork parade was the second largest, usually attracts about 50,000 people. So they said, no.
The Cork parade.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
New York has confirmed 142 cases now. That number's up from 106 that they just reported earlier. And Rick Cotton, the Port Authority in New York and New Jersey, did test positive. So he's under quarantine, and his senior staff will be tested and placed under quarantine as well. More and more this is happening, and more things are being canceled. Of course, if you haven't heard yet, our cruise was canceled. The cruise that we were going to go on with you, and I think they're going to reschedule that for some time.
Yeah, more details are coming later this week, according to Glenn. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, all across the nation, different, so many communities now impacted with stories like, the Port Authority guy.
Mm-hmm. A man in his 30s with at least one child at an elementary school in Frisco, which is suburban Dallas, right here in the DFW, tested positive for COVID-19. How'd he get it? I'm shocked that it's here. That's in my daughter's school, Brittany Garcia said. Her 9-year-old daughter's in 4th grade there. Didn't expect it here so soon. Yeah, that's what happens. So Garcia was concerned that the school held an open house last Wednesday with hundreds of parents and teachers.
Oh, no.
And students. At an open house, people are shaking hands, giving hugs.
Oh, no.
Oopsie daisies.
That's not good. And you just asked, how did it get here, or how did he get it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've said for decades now, we're such an interconnected society now. I mean, there are so many connections around the world, and you can get from one side of the planet to the other in a matter of hours, and God knows what you're bringing with you, and there you go.
You think it spread in 1918 with the Spanish flu? I mean, and they were fairly mobile then, but there wasn't any passenger. There was no passenger air travel at the time. They traveled across the ocean on ships and things, but now, I mean, with air travel, you can spread this stuff everywhere really quickly.
Yeah, the world's first scheduled passenger airline service took off. You got to guess what year? And it went from St. Petersburg, Florida to somewhere. So it was out of St. Petersburg. How cool is that? Oh, between Tampa and St. Pete? Oh, my goodness. Whoa, that's...
It went from Tampa to St. Pete?
That's just... Did they fly over Tampa Bay? Because if I'm the first passenger, I'm not flying over the water, man.
It's not kind of like going from Dallas to Fort Worth?
Exactly. Exactly what that is.
I'm going to say 1922.
1914.
1914 was the... Wow. Huh.
It only lasted for 4 months. I'm sorry. There wasn't a market for the Tampa to St. Pete route. Golly. So I don't know when it picked back up, but 1914 is what we have here. And yesterday we were upset with that guy in Italy who was delivering Chinese food after he had the virus, and they said, "Stay at home, stay at home." Well, now you have in Missouri a guy who was supposed to self-quarantine, took his daughter to a dance, intermingled with who knows how many people.
How can you do that?
Sure enough, tested positive.
That's reckless endangerment.
It's absolutely insane. And if you want to remain a free society, then be smart, use common sense, and let's not spread this thing. Because we're going to end up being on lockdown like what's
Italy is
happening in Italy now.
Yeah. We're telling you yesterday a quarter of the country was on lockdown. Now the entire country is on lockdown.
That's an interesting development.
Happened quick.
Yeah, that escalated quickly.
Wow. So the whole nation of 60 million people.
Wow.
Quarantined. You're not going in, you're not coming out. That's really something. Wow. That was supposed to be one of our stops, of course, on the cruise. So probably prudent. Also, Israel is quarantining everybody who comes in from somewhere else.
Yep, for 14 days. You want to visit Israel?
No, thank you.
Yeah, you got 2 weeks of staring at walls first.
Yeah, I don't think so. No. Kosher food for 14 days? No. No, thank you. Not going to do that.
Yeah.
Appreciate the offer, but
I'm a pass.
No. And that's a place that can't even decide about a government.
3 times, right?
3 times in 1 year they've had these elections. Just had another one, which was again won by Netanyahu, and he still can't put together a government. I'd be frustrated.
It should not be this difficult.
It really shouldn't. Now, a scientist is saying that we could survive for years in polar outposts, like, obviously, Antarctica. Be a little chilly for us. We wouldn't be necessarily used to that. Not a heck of a lot of food, too, unless you bring it in. But as personnel bunker down and prepare to stay for the winter, they keep a watchful eye as the rest of the world battles to stop coronavirus. The UK's Rothera station leader, Michael Bryan, spoke via satellite about the isolated Antarctic base and the coronavirus that's sweeping the planet. He emphasized how concerns for family and friends back home are at the forefront. We're well protected here and have good procedures in place to look after our health. But our main concern is for our friends and family. I wonder if the virus can even survive in an atmosphere like that.
Well, we're talking about how warm weather might be helping it, right? So it seems like...
But I mean, super cold weather?
Super cold, maybe not.
Would be just as bad as the hot weather.
But this guy hanging out in Antarctica said, yeah, we're good, man. We can stay here for years without any kind of problem. It almost seems like somebody who's giving away their secret route to work around the traffic.
Yeah.
It's almost like maybe you don't announce that.
Uh-huh.
Because the next thing you know, people are going to try to go down there and be like, I'm hanging out here for a while. But there you go. So if you want to, so the moral of the story is if you don't mind the cold, we've got a place for you to wait out the storm, the coronavirus hurricane of suck.
Yeah, if you're really, really scared, just move to Antarctica for a while.
Sure. How do you?
Some people are really, really scared. I mean, everybody's canceling everything. My family was going to get together in Washington, of all places, in a month or two, and that's off. Because nobody wants to, and it's just prudent not to, So it's just prudent not to travel. If you don't have to travel, I'm not going to travel. And they're just saying now if you're over 60, which I'm getting close, not over 60, but I'm getting close to 60.
You're 39, is that right? 39?
Yes, right. In 21 years, I'll be 60 years old.
So, I mean, by then we should know if this thing, how it pans out.
But they're saying, stay out of crowds and don't travel if you don't have to. Older Americans, especially those with underlying health conditions, should stockpile supplies, which people are doing, especially toilet paper, as we talked about yesterday, and avoid unnecessary travel, according to the CDC. Most Americans are likely at risk of catching the virus. Older Americans are especially susceptible to serious outcomes. As the trajectory of the outbreak continues, many people in the U.S. will at some point in time this year or next, be exposed to this virus, and there's a good chance many will become sick. The reason to stock up now is to kind of stick close to home.
Well, goody.
Yeah, but soon, I really believe soon we're going to have we're going to
fix this?
Yeah. I mean, we're going to have a cure. We're going to have a vaccine eventually.
Yeah.
And I think sooner rather than later.
Well, we're up to 755. Oh, hey, Karen. 755.
Wait, 755 in the U.S.?
In the U.S.
It was just in the 500s yesterday.
22 deaths in Washington State, 2 in California, 2 in Florida. So 26 deaths total out of 755. The recovery, we have 8 that have fully recovered around the nation out of those 755.
So do we have any idea how long it takes to recover? Is this like a 2-week illness, 3-week illness? Any idea? Because I read, or we talked about before the show, I think it was 55,000 worldwide that have recovered, right? Out of 110,000. So almost exactly half of the people who have contracted the virus have already recovered and moved on. So I wonder if I wonder what the period of suffering with this stupid disease is.
Let's see here. Well, let's see. I thought I had the answer here, but of course
you don't.
Once I started talking, that jinxed the universe for me.
So the economic impact is going to continue for a while. I mean, the stocks are rebounding a little bit today on the futures. They're up almost 1,000 points, thank goodness. But there's going to be so many things that are going to be different, that they're going to affect us economically. And the GDP is going to suffer because of this. We're just going to have to understand that and put it into perspective and help our neighbors understand that doesn't mean Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden should take control of this economy because they'll make it worse. They're talking about tax increases, both of them. Obviously, gigantic ones for Bernie and just big ones for Joe Biden.
Do you want to see what Bernie had to say about the borders, or do you want to get to that from Fox News last night?
I can't wait.
Oh, boy.
If you had to, would you close down the borders?
No.
No. I mean, what you don't want to do right now, we have a president who has propagated xenophobic anti-immigrant sentiment from before he was elected. What we need to do is have the scientists take a hard look at what we need to do. There are communities where the virus is spreading. What does that mean? It may mean self-quarantining. It may be not having public assemblies. But let's not go back to the same old thing. Isn't it interesting that a president who has been demagoguing and demonizing immigrants, the first thing that he could think about is closing down the border? So we need scientists to tell us the appropriate
That's not
approach.
the first. Okay, first of all, that's not the first thing he thought of. Is closing down the border. That's not the first thing he went to. But it's a prudent step if others are coming into the country and we don't know whether they've been infected or not. I think it might be a prudent step to go ahead and stop the flow into the country for a while. That's not xenophobic. That's disease phobic. We just don't want the disease to explode here. That guy is unbelievable. But of course he's not going to protect the border. Of course. He doesn't care. 888-900-3393. More Pat Gray Unleashed coming up. Some tweets here at Pat Unleashed. B to Bodine. This is about MSNBC's incredible blunder yesterday. In fact, we should show this to remind you. It's just amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Brian Williams and a guest Is her name Marcia Gay? Something like that.
Is that who that is?
Yeah. Anyway, they're discussing.
They're doing Keith math on the air.
How much Michael Bloomberg spent on his campaign, and they muse about, gosh, if he just could have spent that money somewhere else, like given all Americans some money. And here's the numbers. Pretty amazing.
But you see it as a possibility if he wants to spend $1 billion beating this guy, he could do it.
Absolutely. Somebody tweeted recently that actually with the money he spent, he could have given every American $1 million.
I've got it. Let's put it up on the screen. When I read it tonight on social media, it kind of all became clear. Bloomberg spent $500 million on ads.
Did it?
U.S. population, 327 million.
Right.
Don't tell us if you're ahead of us on the math. He could have given each American $1 million and have had lunch money left over. It's an incredible way of putting it.
It's an incredible way of putting it.
It is an incredible way.
It's disturbing.
No.
It does suggest what we're talking about here, which is there's too much money in politics.
There really is. Yeah.
A guy who tweeted that out already changed his bio to say, "I know, I'm bad at math."
Dude, no kidding.
Been there, brother.
So he spent $500 million. There's 327 million Americans. It's about $1.53. Really close to $1 million.
Yeah, it's in the ballpark.
I mean, really unbelievable, because they prepared that before the show. So many people's hands and eyes encountered that figure, and nobody said, "No, wait, what? No, that's not $1 million. It's $1.
Don't get ahead of us on the math here." Okay. All right. We'll just, you know what, Brian? We'll just sit back and we'll just wait for you to walk right through there.
Anyway, B. de Bodine tweeted, if only MSNBC had a guest on the show with a degree in economics.
Oh, that would have been
with
helpful.
Highest honors to straighten them out.
Who can handle that? Right?
Maybe this guy. Maybe Mo Brooks.
And we were looking at reverting a depression at that point. Everyone, the Fed chairman.
I disagree that we were going into a depression, but go ahead.
Do you have a degree in economics?
Yes, ma'am, I do. Highest honors.
Okay, so you.
Okay, so
where was Mo Brooks when you needed him for that tricky math question?
Yeah, could have helped.
Could have helped.
Jeffy's two-handed titanium fork tweets, it'll be great to see the number of Dems who won't vote in the primaries and are holding out to vote for Trump in the general election.
Oh, please.
Oh, man. Let's hope so. Random American, correction, Sanders will win Western Washington. Eastern Washington actually has a brain. Yeah, well, the Seattle area, the surrounding area, that's all full of Californians. And they screwed that place up badly a long time ago. Number 3, let's see. Hurricane, Just Too Mucketfutch tweets, Hurricane of Suck. Yet another band that will be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before Foreigner. By the way,
good band name.
Speaking of the Hall of Fame, a band who's in it, Led Zeppelin, we got a great story, an update on something we told you about with their lawsuit a while ago. Random, let's see. Oh, and from USSA News, just remember, you can't spell breadline without Bernie.
That's true. I checked that. You're right. Bernie is in breadline.
Not in the right order, but
yeah,
still,
it works. It works. You still got some letters left over and everything.
Didn't he, by the way, tell us breadlines were great?
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
yes,
breadlines are that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
That means there's food for people. Man, you are dumb. You are dumb.
Those are the thoughts of a communist, though. At least there's food. At least there's food. Not in their own home, but they just stand in line and they'll get food. Okay, thank you for that.
I mean, seriously, America.
Wow, crazy.
You can't do this to us.
He had an interesting opening act, too, at a campaign stop.
This is so weird. Who sent this to us?
Very, very strange.
Check this out. I don't know what's happening. There's Middle Eastern dudes dancing on a stage.
That's really weird.
Yeah, that's your warm-up act there.
Doesn't seem like the crowd is too much into it either.
No, they're
okay, what is this for? What?
Okay, you know what this is? This is a campaign that is in its last days.
Yeah, I think so too.
And they need every vote they can get. Well, you got some Middle Eastern guys who can dance on a stage, whatever. Bring them up.
Is this in Michigan, I'm guessing?
I think so, yeah.
No, there you go right there.
There you go right there.
It's pandering to the Muslims in the area. There you go right there. 888-933-93. Oh, here's one way of handling the coronavirus. A North Korean official that went from China and returned to his country was shot dead after being suspected to have the viral disease, and apparently...
Oh, no, man.
He made a little mistake when he came out. He insisted on going to a public bathroom even while he was under quarantine.
Oh, snap.
After that, the quarantined official was reportedly shot dead after risking the spread of the virus in the country. Under the new rule of North Korean Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un, he vowed that anyone who will leave the quarantine process without permission from officials would be ruled by military law, which means they'll be executed on the spot once they get caught. So if you break the rules of the quarantine, they shoot you in the head.
Okay, then. Well, we just were questioning yesterday. Wonder how they're handling this over in North Korea, and now we know.
Now we know.
It's not good.
And no information really is coming out of that country. Very little anyway. And so nobody knows how many people have it, how many people have been shot dead because they violated quarantine rules. Who knows what's going on there? Gee, that's just chilling. That is just chilling. And there you go with your Marxist regime. That's what happens. Nah, but we'll be a good Marxist regime. We'll do things really well.
I mean, at least there's food.
Yeah, not so much, actually.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of people starving to death.
Yes.
Not so much.
Bernie, address that.
Mm-hmm. Also, Iran is now a role model for the world in the fight against the coronavirus.
Wait. Iran is a role model
yes.
for the world? Hold on a second. What's our update? They have 7,161 active cases right now of the coronavirus. But go ahead.
7,000.
Yeah,
Wow.
and 237 deaths. But go ahead.
Richard Brennan, the regional emergency director of the World Health Organization,
the UN, okay,
has said countries in the region all over the world should use Iran's experience as a role model in the fight against the virus. Iran benefits from one of the strongest health care systems in the region. Iran has made notable achievements in the field of battling coronavirus. They got 7,000 people with it.
At least there's Band-Aids.
They are licking shrines with their tongues.
What in the world? But they're a role model. They're a role model, according to the UN.
So I guess we should start licking things out in public that other people have also licked. That's a good way to go.
That is a weird flex there by the World Health Organization.
Another way to handle it. It just shows you that the UN is so worthless. Their only goal is to disparage the United States and Israel. I mean, that's it. That's all they do. That's all they're good for. Is just to cause us hassle and trouble.
Where was this Brennan guy, or who is it? Was he in?
Richard Brennan?
Yeah, no, this guy for the World Health Organization. Was he in Iran when he said that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's discount that. He's trying to get on the plane and get out of there. So he's like, "Yeah, you're a role model. You're great. Let's go." Is the jet leaving yet? And then he can get to a safe country where he can actually tell us the truth. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt as someone who didn't want to spend the rest of his life in Iran. Maybe that was the case there.
Didn't 50 people die in one location there in Iran?
Yeah, in one town, 70, I think it got up to. And you know that the parliament and stuff are wrecked with it. The leadership, number 2 in command.
Second in command. Got it.
But they're a role model for how to handle the coronavirus.
Right, they're doing great.
I mean, they're
doing
first
great.
class health facilities. And can I get on the plane now?
You know what? This thing is just going to run its course. I don't know that there's anything we can do to stop it. You know, it's like trying to stop the wind from blowing. How do you do it? Okay, there's just too many people going too many places, doing too many things, not listening to officials. If you could control your population like China and North Korea do, maybe you have a shot. But if you take away our freedom, then
that's what I'm afraid. I'm afraid this could go either way. We could end up having really good benefits, like maybe Congress votes from home for the foreseeable future.
Which would be great.
Or we could go the other way and be stupid and take our daughters to dances when we're supposed to be self-quarantining and spreading it through the community and end up having freedom completely. We could go either way. Right now, we are right in the middle of the road. We could go one way or the other with this thing. And let's say it does run its course. Let's be positive. Let's say it does run its course and society doesn't change dramatically more than it already has. I'm still very concerned about the November effects. And,
definitely.
And even if it runs its course, even if tomorrow it just starts fading away, I'm just really concerned about the damage done beyond that.
And
long term.
We're still going to have to realize, even if it goes away today, you're still going to have longer term economic ramifications.
Precisely. Especially, we just talked about how interconnected we are with travel and stuff and spreading the virus overnight. Same thing with our economies. They're all interconnected. And there's a hurricane of suck around the world.
Yeah.
And this is...
and we're going to have it. It's going to be here. We're just going to have to deal with it and be prepared. If you're prepared, you won't have to fear. So take the precautions. Do what the CDC recommends. Don't go into big crowds if you're elderly, if you're sick, if you've got underlying health conditions. Just stay home as much as you can. Go to work, and hopefully you don't work in a place where other people have it.
And remember, they're saying for 5 to 14 days you could have symptoms and not know it.
I think the average is 5 days.
Yeah. But I think the 14 is on the high end just because that's how they want you to quarantine, just to be safe.
But the other thing we should be doing, if we're to use Iran as a role model, is licking everything in sight.
So we need to mix that into our daily routines?
Start licking things. Like if somebody extends their hand, lick it. Lick your computer screen, your phone, for instance. Those are all good things to lick. They've got active, good bio things on them.
Okay, well,
stuff.
I'm apparently immune now after.
Yeah, there's bio stuff on there that you probably want in your system.
Hashtag bio stuff.
You just got to laugh about it because otherwise, what are you going to do? You're just going to absolutely panic.
But where's the nearest statue here in Irving, Texas? Like,
I don't know, but when you find it, go lick it because we're using Iran as the template here. Okay?
Nearest statue.
Find one.
Find it
and lick it. And by the way, Judy in Pennsylvania, don't do any of these things. Okay? Don't do
it.
Anything we just recommended.
Don't do it, man. You're right. However, that being said, that might make for a fun video later on Twitter.
We don't want to imperil
Not
Judy's
for you,
life.
Judy. No, you don't do the.
No.
I'm going to do this later. I got to find a statue.
888-900-3393 from Roswell Alien. Pat was wondering what his church is doing to deal with the coronavirus. Well, here's what's happening in the Seattle area where things are really bad. Little glimpse of what our church has done in the heart of the COVID-19 outbreak. Apparently, Roswell Alien lives in the Snohomish County, just north of Seattle. They closed the temple there. Church meetings are reduced to sacrament meeting only, so that's 1 hour instead of 2, which was just reduced from 3 about a year ago. Youth activities are canceled. Wow, no weeknight meetings, no activities or choir practice. Presidency meetings encouraged to be remote, so you can just do that online. Young men required to vigorously wash their hands and sanitize everything before preparing the sacrament. Yeah, please. Yes, please. That should always happen, by the way. Every other row is reserved so that it can pass the sacrament to each individual. Nobody else touches the trays. Oh, wow. Some areas in the church are putting the bread, the sacrament bread, into individual cups. That's a good idea because then you're not touching the other ones by mistake, and that would cut down on, people touching food, which grosses me out anyway. I've become kind of a germaphobe lately.
Good for you.
I know.
Yeah, I just found an origami.
Can't help it.
Origami Pegasus statue here in Irving.
You gonna go lick it?
I might visit later
lick it.
today. Yeah, okay.
Again, Judy, that does not apply to you. Seminary will continue unless schools are closed. Schools have been shut down if a teacher or student tests positive. Wow. So that's in place all the way through March, and then they're going to reevaluate. Well, it's just going to get worse, I would think. I would think most areas are going to start doing those things if they haven't already. And you said your church has taken precautions already, right?
Yeah. They, let's see, you have to have the wine in the cup. And what was the other thing I said? That was so long ago. It was like 24 hours ago I said that.
And they're not shaking hands.
Not shaking hands. We're not passing the peace, all that stuff. The pastors are washing their hands, behind the, behind the pulpit there.
Could everybody see that they're washing their hands?
No,
Make sure. You should have somebody
right?
make sure.
Right?
Make sure you're washing those hands for 20 seconds. I have realized that 20 seconds is
a long time.
A long time.
That's a commitment.
It's much longer than I normally wash my hands.
Yep.
And now I'm thinking every time, all right, got to be 20 seconds. So I just keep going. Because they said, who was it that showed how many germs were killed in 4-second increments? And it went, after 4 seconds, hardly any. After 8, it was more. After 12, I think you were 60% there. So on, up to 20 seconds.
Just through soap and water or soap and hot water?
Soap and water is what they said. I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm sure to be hot helps.
And this is a specific message for dudes in this building. You know who you are. You're still not washing your hands.
Jeez.
It's really starting to not only annoy me, but now concern me. Yes. Again, you know who you are, and you better start washing your freaking hands every time you're in that room. I don't even care if you go in there to just get food out of your teeth. There's a sink, there's soap, it's right there. It's right there. Use it, man.
Yeah, it's not that hard. It's really not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for the graphic, Rob. Stop going from stall to hall, guys. I swear, it's really, don't like it.
No,
and you have coworkers.
I know.
You're watching this show, you're listening to this show. You have coworkers who do the same thing.
Yeah.
We gotta start publicly shaming these people.
Well, we've got 4-year-olds in this building. Some can't even flush the toilet. It's like, come on, seriously? Really? How hard is it? Your mom doesn't work here. Take care of these things, all right? Like an adult. Jeez.
That being said, I will be licking the origami Pegasus statue later today.
Right after the show.
So that I can become immune to this.
Well, we're supposed to use Iran as a template.
So wash your hands and lick statues.
Okay. That's what we're doing.
What a mess. I seriously, I cannot understand. It's like, you would think that if there's ever a time when society might actually start washing their hands, it would be right now.
Yeah.
Right now. And as recently as yesterday, there are men in this building. Where are the men? Well, they're not at the sink washing their hands, I'll tell you that.
And the thing is, in order to get a grip on this virus, we all have to do this. We all have to play our part. Everybody has to be smart here, because not only are people's lives at stake, but the health and vibrancy of this country is at stake.
It's not an exaggeration to say freedom is at stake.
Yes.
You don't want to self-quarantine? You're going to be on lockdown.
If Biden or Sanders are elected as a result of all of the economic catastrophes that are going to happen between now and November.
So true.
The country is going to suffer greatly.
So true. Don't do it for your health. Do it for freedom.
So it starts. It really does start. Saving freedom starts with washing your hands.
Yeah. Saving freedom starts at the sink.
Yep.
Can we agree on that?
It does. Saving freedom starts at the sink. It's a good way to go.
That is today's show title. Pat Gray Unleashed.
888-900-3393. We've been talking about some of the preventative measures that are so easy. And the key to keeping our freedom, by the way. If we can act like adults and reasonable human beings.
Stop right there.
Then the government won't feel forced into removing our freedoms and forcing us into certain activities.
Yeah, don't give them a reason to justify, right?
Right. Now, one of the things, so we were talking about washing your hands. The other thing I actually heard a doctor say yesterday was don't pick your nose.
Oh, I'm out. What?
You believe these?
That's good.
All these things we were told when we were 3-4 years old. Wash your hands. Don't pick your nose.
Yeah.
Stop picking your nose.
Stop it. Yeah, it's an entry point, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because you got germs on your finger, you jam it up your nose, it goes straight to your brain, kills you dead or whatever. I don't know.
Wow, that's
it's it's a little dramatic.
That's intense.
But yeah, it's that's how the germs get to you and start making you feel like garbage. So let's just take a few precautions. And the face thing, don't touch your face. That is really hard to overcome.
It sure is.
At least we should be trying to cut down, and I'm trying to be, cognizant of how many times I do that. And, like the person the official who is telling us not to touch your face. And all the time, and then the first thing she does is put her finger in her mouth and lick it so she can turn the next page. I mean, do we still have that? That's probably
they
not
can try to
readily
load that
available.
back up. Yeah,
yeah, we should see that from yesterday because it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But it shows you how difficult this is.
Today, start working on not touching your face because one main way viruses spread is when you touch your own mouth, nose, or eyes.
Okay. Hello. It's just, again, we're such a weird people, but we've developed these habits that are really, really hard to overcome. And there's never been a reason to really think about it before. When was the last time? When was a time when we've ever had this sort of pandemic to worry about? I mean, even SARS, we kind of made fun of at the time because it really didn't hit us very hard. Mm-hmm. MERS, all of these things, Ebola, they just haven't affected the United States. This one is affecting us. And so we got to really think about the things we're doing right now to try to stay healthy and safe. 888-900-3393. Also at Pat Unleashed on Twitter. We got Jeffrey in Florida. Hi, you're on the Blaze.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
I have very little faith in the common sense of the average American when it comes to this coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
To give an example, I went to a Christmas party a few years back, and the day after the party, I started to break out and found out a couple of days later that a lady had brought her child to this party who had chickenpox.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I was in my 30s, and I
Jeez.
never had them as a child, and it's much more severe when you're an adult.
Right.
And I have scars from that.
Oh, man, that sucks.
Adventure. And I'm an over-the-road truck driver, and I also wanted to let you know that a lot of the food suppliers here in the nation are they're not even letting drivers out of their trucks. And they're also making them sign questionnaires about their health. Have they have they had coughs or sneezes or fevers in the last couple of weeks? And so, I mean, they're really starting to look at it in every aspect of our society.
I bet they are. Yeah, as well they should. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Jeffrey. Especially in the food industry. I mean, that's really critical that we keep that supply safe and clean. Larry in New York, you're on the Blaze. Hi.
Hey, Pat, how you doing?
Doing good.
Good. I had an experience yesterday. My son and my daughter-in-law had my fourth grandchild, turned out to be a grandson, and I was in the waiting room at the hospital outside the delivery area, and the hospital on Sunday had changed all their rules as far as visiting. No one under 15 is admitted into the hospital. If you're under 15, you can't get in to visit. If you're in the ER, you don't have any visitors. If you are pediatric ER, only one parent is allowed in. And the rule that I saw got broken right away yesterday was, and I'm not trying to be racist, but there was a Hispanic family speaking nothing but Spanish. And there was a gentleman whose wife must have had a baby. Mm-hmm. He had a son with him, I guess, who was probably 15 or older. But they somehow snuck in a girl who couldn't have been more than 8 years old when, the new guideline at the hospital is if you're under 15, you're not supposed to be in there. So people are not going to pay attention to the rules anyway.
That's the thing.
It goes back to what the one caller was just relating about the person coming to a Christmas party with the measles. Mm-hmm. People don't pay attention to what they should be doing. Like Keith was saying, guys go in there in the building and don't wash their hands when they leave the men's room.
Just common sense.
And that's what it is. But, we know we know for a fact that this country, a lot of people don't have common sense, do they?
That's for sure. No, thanks, Larry. Yeah, the lack of common sense
an epidemic,
and the selfishness. Those are two things that'll kill us. Those are going to kill us in this time if we don't care about others. Like the guy, we had the story of the parent who took his daughter to the dance with the virus.
Yeah, after they told him, authorities said self-quarantine, don't be going out. And so now the local sheriff says if he leaves his house again, then we're going to arrest him.
Good.
Well, yeah. And then they're going to get to the point where they just start saying, you know what? Everybody, you have to stay at your home for 14 days.
That's what they
did
in Italy. Because they probably couldn't get people to abide by the rules. So then the government decided to take it into their own hands.
Yeah, in Italy, they had the guy delivering Chinese food when he was supposed to be self-quarantined.
The selfishness, the carelessness for others. I mean, it's unbelievable. And sometimes it's just wanton. We've had stories about people with the virus who were going around intentionally touching other people.
Oh yeah, I remember in China we had the video of the elevator stuff. Remember?
Yeah. Oh, the guy. Yes.
Was he? Yeah. He was wiping his mouth or something on something and wiping all over the buttons. But in a lot of cases, take the selfishness out of it. You're carrying it and you have no idea.
Sometimes,
and so you're spreading this without even having a clue that you yourself have it.
True.
This is
it's hard enough. It's hard enough to get a grip on when everybody's doing what they should be doing. It's really hard if they're just ignoring it and they're in it for themselves.
It's even harder.
And if you're going to take your daughter and you have the coronavirus and you go to a dance anyway, I mean, that's just asinine. That's just asinine. And you're a total douchebag. 888-900-3393. It looks like Bill Gates sort of warned us about this.
Oh, yeah, 2015.
A few years ago during a speech at TED Talks. Yeah. Take a look.
If anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus rather than a war. We're not ready for the next epidemic. So next time we might not be so lucky. You can have a virus where people feel well enough while they're infectious that they get on a plane or they go to a market.
Yeah, then here we are 5 years later from that speech.
Interesting.
That entire, that was just a clip. We're going to post the whole thing on Twitter at Pat Unleashed later if you want to check it out. Because he goes through the things that we've gone through as far as the movie correlations, such as Outbreak and Contagion and all that stuff. And he talks about how it would be a $3 trillion effect. We got to get this thing under control fast.
It's already close to $1 trillion. Already. So that's what we have to come to grips with as well. There's going to be some ramifications. There's going to be some consequences of this down the road that we need to prepare for right now. Right now. As far as the stock market, if you didn't hear, it was actually up almost 1,000 points on the futures market. So we'll find out when that opens. It'll probably open up quite a bit, like 3 or 4%. And we'll see how the rest of the day goes. Hopefully we'll hang on to those gains and maybe even increase them. Another precaution people are considering is Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL hockey, and Major League Soccer. They're closing locker rooms to the media. What they're also talking about doing is closing their arenas to the fans.
Yeah, like the San Jose Sharks, I know, said that they're
going to play in an empty arena. Wow. I mean, it's just sports, so why take the chance? I guess it's a prudent thing to do. They're going to ban the crowds at the San Jose Sharks home games.
And see, that was a local edict by the county that they play in.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still not positive that that's going to be
followed
by the. So I don't know if they're going to get a waiver or what. But this goes back to: are we going to play it smart, or are we going to take chances? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
This is it's going to be really tested here. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know when the next.
Sharks game is?
Yeah, because they got 3 home games coming up here.
Scheduled for, let's see, three Sharks home games scheduled for the rest of the month will be affected. It doesn't say when the next one is, though.
So Anyhow, so we're going to find out. But you're not supposed to have a crowd more than 1,000 people.
LeBron James said he won't play in front of no fans.
Oh, good.
He won't play.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
All right, go ahead and sit your butt down. Go ahead. Who
I
cares?
like this.
Yeah.
Good. So now's the time, if you're in the Western Conference, to make your move on the Lakers.
To play the Lakers at home.
I'd like to see what their schedule looks like coming up now that I think about it. Lakers schedule.
That's a big deal in basketball, too, because without the home crowd,
yeah,
it's a huge advantage. It's a huge advantage. So we'll see.
So good luck to the Brooklyn Nets playing tonight there in L.A.
Tonight?
Yeah, but I think there's still a crowd.
Yeah, they haven't banned them yet.
But boy, you got some important games coming up.
If this thing gets worse, they will. They'll do this.
Yeah.
They'll have to, because you're not going to have 20,000 fans gathered together at one place. You can't take the chance.
And let's be honest, I'd rather watch these games on my couch anyway.
Right. Me too.
Go down there, fight traffic, and
yeah,
wake up early the next morning.
Right.
Speaking from experience, it just makes weeknights very tough.
Fighting traffic. Paying outrageous sums for $7 for a bottle of water.
Yeah. I end up paying more for the parking space than I do for the seat in the arena. That is madness. But yeah, so now the rest of you can be like me and just watch from home. Because it's a hassle going down to these, and they're so expensive anyway.
Yeah. We'll save money that way.
We'll save money.
Which will help, because you're going to get hurt in the pocketbook in several other places during this time.
Did you say no access to MLS players in the locker room?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm crushed now.
Yeah.
No soccer
no,
access?
I know.
Shoot.
That's a hard one to take.
What am I going to do now?
I had to think for a second. What is MLS? Is that a disease of some sort?
Yes. It's a third world disease.
It is.
And you go to an arena to experience
Soccer is a disease.
Soccer is a virus.
So Johns Hopkins says that about 50,000 people have recovered from the disease. I think we mentioned that. More than 94,000 have become infected. I just saw the figure of 110,000. So health officials maintain that the threat of contracting the disease and the chances of coming down with it remain low for the average person. As of Wednesday morning, Johns Hopkins tracker showed 94,225 cases in 73 countries. Of those, 51,026 had recovered, including 49,856 in mainland China. So, no matter what, I mean, you still have a 98% chance of being okay. Once the virus runs its course, you're just going to feel like garbage for a while. I mean, there was that guy who was and I'm sure he was only like in his 30s. I think he was in his early 30s. And he was on one of these cruises, and so they were quarantined for a while. And when he got done with it, and he was over the virus, and it had run its course, and they let him go, he was interviewed by reporters. And so they asked him what it was like to have the virus. And he said, well, had I been at home rather than on the cruise, I probably would have gone to work. So for some people, it's not even that big a deal. But for others, I'm sure it's... you were telling me about somebody, was this before? I think it was before the show started, that said, I mean, their lungs were shutting down or something?
Yeah. So Bill Pulte is a guy on Twitter who goes around giving money away. He's like a philanthropist, a Twitter philanthropist. And he was relating last night the story of a guy in New Jersey.
Spoke to a 32-year-old coronavirus patient who's a medical professional and not an alarmist. Says the virus is worse than people think. His lungs are shutting down. And he says he'll have to be intubated soon. Jeez. He's waited a week without the drugs that he wants. He wants to be moved from New Jersey to New York, where he can get more adequate care and also get the drugs that his family says are working in China. Yeah. Says that the hospital staff is looking at him like an animal and won't get near him. They ask him to face the wall when they come in. It might be prudent. So this guy, Bill Pulte, is helping him because he needs a patient advocate right now. Man. His family reached out to me. We don't need to panic or we don't need hysteria. We need to be prepared for our loved ones when they're sick. James's lungs are shutting down. He has a young daughter just like me. That's really sad. I mean, so I'm sure it affects different people differently.
Yeah. And there are stories like that popping up all over the nation in local papers and local TV stations. So it is reaching communities. So just play it smart.
Yeah.
And let's hope that we get better news tomorrow.
I also read it's bad if you have high blood pressure that you're like high risk, which I have. So that's great too.
Oh, goody.
Yeah, that's a
well, then we're doing what you and I are
thought.
just. I
Yeah,
mean,
we're
this
in
is going to be
really
great.
good shape. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah,
perfect. Everything's
high blood
perfect.
pressure?
Don't worry about it. Whatever.
I'm good.
I laugh at high blood pressure.
I'm going to ride this thing out.
All right, let me tell you about Rough Greens because no matter what food your dog eats, Rough Greens is a supplement, a really healthy supplement that makes your dog's food better in a couple of different ways. First of all, it for some reason, these dogs absolutely love this stuff. And when you sprinkle it on their food, they go after that food like crazy. And it's really good for them because in the process of making sure that the dog food can last for up to 3 years on the shelves in the grocery store, they burn everything out of it. All the good stuff is gone. The probiotics, the enzymes and vitamins, the healthy microbacteria, all of that stuff gone.
That's rude. Because
It
we
is.
love our dogs, man. What is that? Why are we baking out all the good stuff?
I know. So when you want the good stuff to be inside your dog, then go to Rough Greens Vita Smart. Take the Rough Greens 14-day Jumpstart Challenge today for just $14.95. And see the difference in your dog in just 14 days or less. If you want to see your dog thrive again and you want to see them love their food, go to roughgreens.com/blaze. That's RUFF greens.com/blaze. A little over an hour away from the stock market opening for the day. Futures are up 830 some points right now. 3.5%. We'll see if that holds up. 888-900-3393 and at Pat Unleashed on Twitter. The Steve42 tweets, and by notable achievements, which North Korea has made, according to the UN.
Or Iran.
Iran, yeah. The UN means Iran killed anybody who might be infected with COVID-19. Yeah, just like North Korea. Pastor Sam Burton says everyone is stocked up. Just stay home for a month and let us lowly peons who work grocery and retail recover and restock our shelves and warehouses. Please. From Courier for Christ. We actually have employees wanting to quit and bosses threatening to write up employees.
Whoa.
What a mess. Just because everyone's overreacting. Wow.
That's a tough situation to be in.
Yeah, it is.
You might have a case later if that involves you. Ooh.
Tech Roo. Keith missed the furry convention I was at in Dallas a couple of weekends ago.
Oh, shoot.
Otherwise, he could lick furries instead of statues. Gotta be better for you, less pigeon poop.
I'll pass on that one. Thank you, though.
What is a furry convention?
Oh, you should ask one Beto O'Rourke, who dresses like a rabbit on stage with his band. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a furry. Yeah, so furry.
This is when you dress like an animal?
Yeah, you dress up like almost like a Disney outfit character type thing, and you go and you hang out with each other, and it's
okay.
Oof. That is not a
that
good
sounds
use of
worse than a
time.
Star Trek convention. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, I think you know what? That's a good point. I think that when you're ranking conventions, Star Trek convention definitely above
furry.
Like there's a lot in between too.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. Yeah.
That's a group that too weird for me. Sorry.
Yeah. From G. Harmon, just be careful. If you lick a statue identifying as female, it could be a Me Too issue as well.
Oh, whoa. I need to talk to the attorneys before I go and lick this Pegasus statue later.
Find out how it identifies. Gary Doracak, a person touches their face 2,000 to 3,000 times a day. As soon as you try not to do this, you know an itch is coming.
Yeah.
Every time. Every single time, yes. All right, let's see. Do we have time for this? No, we'll wait. We've got this great campaign collage, sort of the Democrats campaigning for president that was put together by the Daily Wire that you have to see. You're going to love this. We'll play this for you in just a few minutes after the break. Just awesome stuff. It's just, there is so much good stuff from the Democrats. And of course, had this stuff come from Republicans, it'd be everywhere all the time. They'd be showing this over and over and over and over. How many times do we see George W. Bush screwing up? Fool me once, shame on Shame on me. Fool me. You can fool me, but you can't get fooled again. I believe that human beings and fish can coexist peacefully.
I mean, I don't.
No, they can't.
Taste too
They can't.
good.
I think we've proven since you said that's just not true.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just because you're poor doesn't necessarily mean you're a killer. In other words, poor people aren't necessarily killers. Well, yeah, I think they are. Not necessarily,
but there's
a lot of them
pretty
are.
good chance. I mean, let's be honest.
Yes.
When it comes to murderers in this country,
right?
Most are poor.
No question.
I'm just. That's a fact. I guarantee you. I'm willing to go out on a limb here and say that the average murderer isn't wealthy.
That's actually probably.
What is
that's got to be true. That's got to be true.
Salary.
Average salary of
average murderer in America. Come on, Google.
No way. Is that a thing? You're not going to find the right story on that. It would be my guess.
I'll get there.
That's a little complex for a Google search. 888-900-3393. Led Zeppelin persuaded a U.S. Court of Appeals to reinstate a jury verdict that it didn't steal the opening guitar riff for Stairway to Heaven from an obscure song written 4 years earlier by the band Taurus. Remember this? We talked about this a while ago when the jury verdict was in, and then the jury verdict was thrown out, and then it went to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco, actually. In a 9-2 decision, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco said lead singer Robert Plant's and guitarist Jimmy Page's 1971 rock anthem did not infringe Taurus, written by guitarist Randy Wolf and the band Spirit. The trial and appeal process has been a long climb up the stairway to heaven, according to Circuit Judge Margaret McKeon.
Nice. I love that. Way to mix that in so subtly there.
Isn't that great?
Associated Press. Good job.
Now, what I think really helped him was that 400-year-old song. The medieval song that, I forget, Shad of Fish, or I don't know. It's this.
Okay.
Now, this is 400 years old, so there's no copyright on it anymore. I just want to say that now.
Hold on, but what if an algorithm picks this up and
will.
Says that it was Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin? Then you go to court and you say, no, look!
Listen to this. So horrible. But anyway, you got the same sort of court structure that Stairway to Heaven had.
And don't forget, go to youtube.com/Pat Gray and you can see 1099 The Big Frog get the let out last week if you missed that video.
Tell you some other things about Stairway to Heaven that you may not have known. 888-900-3393. Also at Pat Unleashed on Twitter. The Steve42 tweets, pet peeve, coworkers who come to work sick and wear it like some badge of honor. I won't let a fever of 103 keep me from work. Yeah, that's not good for everybody around you.
No.
Boomer Rube. The more I think about not touching my face, the more phantom itches I feel. And the more I want to touch my face. It's maddening. True. I feel that too. I feel your pain. I do. I feel your pain. Rants out loud. I'm glad I've got all these promotional bottles of hand sanitizer that are given to me that I just toss in drawers and never use. By the time I deplete all of them, this thing's done and gone. Let's see. Marching like a monsoon. Or you could sell them on eBay and retire.
Yeah, so they replied
I guess all
to
of
that.
all of the sanitizer, hand sanitizer.
Wonder what you could get for a little bottle of hand sanitizer on eBay right now.
Well, when it starts not being on grocery shelves, a lot.
Well, you're already limited, right?
Hoosier Volunteer tweets, why are progressives complaining about Trump's handling of corona when they also promote eliminating the human race to promote environmental issues? That's for sure. And I asked what a furry is. Maybe I shouldn't have.
No.
Flying middle finger of fate tweets, a furry is a sexual fetishist?
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Ick, really?
Yeah,
No.
Yeah, these...
Why? What? Okay, I don't want to know.
This country, man.
I don't want to know.
It takes all kinds to make this world go round.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it, though?
By the way, if you go to eBay... Apparently, someone's trying to sell a bottle of 18-ounce pump of Purell hand sanitizer for $70. But now that comes with free shipping before you poo-poo it.
Oh, okay. Well,
okay.
Now, how much do I want it?
Now, here you've got you can bid. Right now, it's $22 for...
You can get it at the store.
For a 16-ounce bottle of hand sanitizer.
Jeez.
Oh, I love this. I love this description. So Equate, that's the generic Walmart brand.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind. So you've got Equate, 60 fluid ounces. I don't know if this is a Donald Trump entry, but it's in all caps, very big bottle. And the bidding...
Is it a beautiful bottle?
Well, I mean, it's
a beautiful hand sanitizer.
It's not like a big, beautiful door on the side of the bottle, but it's starting the bids at $10, but $9 shipping and handling. On principle, I say no.
888-900-3393. Also, at MSNBC, Chris Hayes says that it's racist or gross to call the coronavirus the Wuhan virus.
Okay.
I mean, they see racism absolutely everywhere.
And all of the Asian press is referring to it as that.
In China, the Wuhan virus. Ebola was named for a river in the Congo, as was pointed out. Zika is named for a forest in Uganda. Lyme disease came from Lyme, Connecticut. Is that racist? How about Spanish flu? Is that racist? The norovirus from Norwalk, Ohio. The West Nile virus from the West Nile. German measles. Ever heard of that? I mean, you can go on and on and on. It's so ridiculous. Why do we have to play this stupid game that even the name of a virus is racist?
Well, there's a disease that affects the nerves that link various parts of the brain to each other in the spinal cord, and it's called white matter disease.
Oh, wow.
Should we start maybe working on that one? White matter disease? I see what you're doing there.
Wow. Well, whites, really, that's the only one that it doesn't matter. Yeah, you could be racist against whites. That's fine.
Fair point. My bad.
Forget it.
You're right. So white matter disease stands.
Don't get ridiculous, Keith. We don't have to protect white people from racism. Jeez. That was stupid.
I was trying to think outside the box there, and I appreciate you...
bringing you back inside.
Crushing me right there on the air. So thank you.
It had to be done. All right, we told you about this Daily Wire compilation. They put together a whole bunch of really great moments from Democrats during this campaign, and here it is.
Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer.
Nice way to get us started there.
By having better hands guided by better values on those pulleys and levers of American government. So can I look to you to spread that sense of hope to those that you know? Come on.
Come on.
Please clap.
Grab a young man, boot edge edge. Boot edge edge. They say edge edge. He's got a great chance. He'll be great.
My husband Bruce is now in here.
Oh.
Why attack Sanders? Why? You're getting nervous, man. I was telling the truth about Social Security.
Wow.
Who have we got here so far?
Well, I mean, listen, this is going to sound immodest, but I'm obviously a top-tier candidate.
I, too, am extraordinarily humble.
Look at my face! Oh, my God, I love it!
I will be bold without the bowl.
Okay.
And to get hot, I got hairy legs.
Face and the grass doesn't care about. Sorry, I'm just gonna get some ranch. Go ahead.
that turn blonde in the sun.
Joe Biden! Yeah! Joe Biden!
And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight and then watch the hair come back up again.
Furry convention.
Furry convention.
Hey. Have you ever seen a foot with 4 toes?
What are you doing? They look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Glad to see. Is that Greeny Goddess? Wow. That's a name I'd like to have.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. Look, here's the deal.
You kind of like the original Rachel Dolezal.
You're just wrong.
Cada votante.
Tejas. That's Spanish for Texas. 5. All right. Peter wrote it.
I think we're talking about
Mr. Sanders.
Let's talk about First of all,
Wow.
I think she was talking about my plan, not yours. I think we were talking about math, and it doesn't take 2 hours to do the math. Let's talk about what
That was that fun debate.
Okay, so here's the math. No, here's the math. Can I respond? You ain't got it. Here's what will happen.
Senator Sanders, you allowed a quick response, and we would like to allow the other candidates.
Moderator, guys.
Senator Sanders.
Moderator. Is my turn?
Bye-bye.
Okay.
You can't turn off the camera. I've been there.
Wow.
So bad.
Well, you see it together like that, and there's so many more.
So many more.
You could go on for 20 minutes.
Yeah, Daily Wire only did 3 minutes of the fun that we've experienced over the last several months. Ooh, that's Anyway.
The choice for the Democrats is an impossible one.
Yeah,
it's just impossible. They're just all absolutely terrible.
Yeah, they had 2 normal human beings out of the 24 that they had.
And who were the normal ones?
They turned their backs.
I'm kind of hard pressed to remember the 2 normal ones.
I mean, normal-ish. Andrew Yang. And
Yang.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Okay.
And then that was it.
That. Although Yang had his weird stuff.
I
too.
know.
He started off his campaign with the
circumcision.
The circumcision thing, yeah.
So that's why I tucked in the ish there. Normal-ish. I mean, look, the standard of the Democratic Party. You've got to look at someone like Andrew Yang and be like, all right. I mean, you talk about being Overton windowed on trying to figure out someone who's normal,
right? Mm-hmm. All right, let me take a minute and tell you about Laurel Springs. As parents, we want to encourage our kids to pursue their dreams and provide opportunities that give them the best chance to succeed. I'm a parent. I want my kids to do really well. I want them to have really good schooling. And sometimes that means optimizing their routine, making it more flexible, more dynamic. That's why there's Laurel Springs. If you are sick and tired of what your kids are being subjected to, like I was, in the public education system, and you want to do something about it, you want to give them a really good foundation, then Laurel Springs is a great way to go. It's an accredited online private school for kids, kindergarten through 12th grade. Laurel Springs recognizes that each child is unique, and they have their own personal interests, their own special talents, their own unique learning style. So they have flexible learning programs that offer challenging and diverse elective courses. And it's accredited by the Western Association of Schools and Colleges and Advanced Ed, which means their transcripts are recognized by colleges and universities. So one of the big questions I had from people about homeschooling is, well, what about accreditation? What about with colleges? And there's ways around that, but it's a little bit difficult. You don't have to worry about that with Laurel Springs. That's the good thing. It's a great thing. So register your child at laurelsprings.com/unleashed today and receive a waived registration fee. That's laurelsprings.com/unleashed for your waived registration fee. Again, laurelsprings.com/unleashed.
It's Pat Gray Unleashed on the Blaze.
All right. 888-900-3393. Also at Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Let's see. I've got this story about
the coronavirus.
Well, no.
I was playing the odds.
Yeah, no, it's not the coronavirus.
Stock market crashing?
No, some other things have happened.
Really?
Yeah, and one of the things that we're conducting a jihad on is the fake racist attacks on people. So sick and tired of hearing about it all the time.
Yeah,
and it just keeps happening. It's so bizarre. People get caught so often. I don't know if it's every time because I don't know how often people are doing it.
Yeah.
But they're being caught all the time. And they're shown, look, you're not going to get away with this. It's really hard to get away with.
Yeah, just to recap, the three things that the Pat Gray jihad is taking aim at. It's the Way Forward bill.
Way Forward, yes.
The civil asset forfeiture.
Okay.
And fake racist attacks. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Those are the three things that...
And it just happened again in front of a black business. I think the guy runs a gym.
Okay.
And somebody scratched into the sidewalk with a rock. White pride. Now, why would you do that?
That's an expensive
yes.
graffiti there.
Yes, it is. Because they were arrested.
Okay.
And they were charged with a crime. And I guess the crime, they're just vandalizing things because, you can't just write white pride if you want to without committing a crime. Well, not in somebody's property because now you've committed vandalism, right? And they'll probably charge you with something else because it's racially motivated and you're obviously a white supremacist and you're a hater. Well, they caught the person and take a look at this white a-hole.
Whoa.
Wait.
Whoa. That's
what you might notice there is
what are we noticing here?
That person doesn't appear to be white
Noticing,
or a male. Appears to be
the
black female.
The melatonin doesn't match up with the suspect description.
No. So I don't know why they're scrolling white pride into the sidewalk near the business that is run by a black person. What are you doing? Obviously, again, you're trying to create racial discord. And you're trying to sow the seeds of rioting and discontent and violence in our country. Why does this keep happening? What are you trying to do? I don't remember this happening before Obama.
No, I don't
all
either.
the time. Do you? I don't remember that. Why does it keep happening? I mean, we have at least one story almost every week.
Yeah.
On this kind of thing, on these hoaxes. It's just gotta stop.
It's got to stop.
And you would think people would wise up and say, okay, if I do this, I'm going to get caught. Because there's video of her doing it. And you don't even think of that, but there's video everywhere you go and everything you do, you're probably being watched, especially around public places.
Yeah.
And so there was video outside these businesses, and they're just recording her the whole time.
And even when you're completely innocent, it's an involved story. But we're both familiar with that guy riding his bike in a neighborhood, and police go to Google and they're like, "Well, you went by this house 3 times that was robbed," and it turned out that it's because I was riding my bike.
Yeah, there's a thing they're doing now. This is scary because it's all encompassing. And a whole bunch of dolphins get caught up in this tuna net.
Yes, they do.
That is cast out there by Google. And the authorities are using this all the time now. And it is called, looking for it. Is
it Google tracking? What do you mean?
It's a certain thing that they do. It's a whole sweep of an area of every device.
It's like a dragnet, basically. Like an electronic dragnet. And this guy in particular, had to pay all sorts of court costs and stuff to prove his innocence, and he's never going to get back, all because his phone tracked him, even though he had taken precautions on his phone to not be tracked.
Yeah, the guy's just an avid bike rider, and he rode past this woman's house that was vandalized, or that was robbed. Yeah, she was robbed of some jewelry that she had.
Yep.
And so he rides his bike past there all the time because he's an avid bike rider. So he'd gone past 3 times that day. But he was just biking past it. And so they used Google and the locator because he had, one of those watches that reports to Google. So he's just exercising. And his watch is reporting to Google his activities and his whereabouts and his location the whole time. So when the police do this massive sweep of all the Google products and devices that have been used in that area and start sifting through them, they see this guy and he becomes their main suspect. And so Google informs him that, oh, by the way, unless you do something about this, we're going to turn over all the information about your devices to the police. And you have 1 week. So he immediately panicked and freaked out and went to his parents and said, I'm in real trouble. I don't know what I did. But they're saying that they're turning over my information to police. So his parents took money out of their savings and paid for a lawyer for the guy.
Terrible.
So he got a lawyer who went to Google, and they found out what the deal was. And it took him some time, but they finally figured out that all he was doing was biking.
Yeah, and I never again want to hear the line, well, why do I care if police have access to my location or the contents of my phone? I'm not doing anything wrong. Who cares?
Neither was this guy. And if he hadn't gotten a lawyer, he'd probably be in jail right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to spend thousands of dollars to get himself out of trouble when he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything at all. Now, these Google searches like this that police are using were up 1,500% last year and another 500% this year. So they're doing this all the time now. All the time. They're, okay, it's a Geo-fence warrant.
Oh, Geo-fence. There you go. Yep.
A Geo-fence warrant.
Yeah, absorb that phrase. Geo-fence warrant.
And what it does is it casts a virtual dragnet over crime scenes, sweeping up Google location data drawn from users' GPS, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and cell connections from everyone nearby. Everyone. So if you think you're not doing anything wrong, that doesn't matter one iota.
And if you think you're invisible in this society?
Nope.
Wrong. Mm-mm.
You don't know how your activity is going to look to authorities who are investigating something. You have no idea. The warrants have increased dramatically, as I said, and they're even according to Google, a significant incursion on privacy. Oh, they're worse than that. They're much worse than that. They're unconstitutional, frankly.
Yeah.
Because you can't just sweep up everybody's information in the area. That's illegal. You can't do that. You've got to have probable cause to be taking people's information. So thousands and thousands of people are being scooped up in these things, and they don't even know it. They don't even know it.
And what would the counter argument be to that? Well, we had reason to believe that this guy was in the area, blah blah blah.
It didn't be anything of the kind, though, until you scooped up all the information from everybody.
And I think the pushback on that is, okay, you don't have access to my property, my papers. Come on, this can't be good enough for a warrant. This Geo-fence warrant phrase. I'm afraid we're going to hear this is going to be part of our lexicon for a long time now.
It is.
That's scary stuff. That is police state stuff right there.
Absolutely, it is. And they're going to keep doing it because it works.
Mm-hmm.
They have actually solved murders from it. They've solved robberies from it. They've solved rapes with it. I mean, this is pretty good information. If you can just go and scoop up every piece of information from an area and then start going through it until you narrow something down and find somebody suspicious, that's going to work for law enforcement. Of course they love it.
And see, where this is reasonable to say, okay, the guy was in the area. There's reason to suspect him.
Yeah.
But for this thing to become what it became, in a week you have to prove your innocence? Screw you. No way. This should have gone a lot deeper than this. They should be able to take that information and then somehow prove that he stole that jewelry from that house, as opposed to just, you're in the area? You're in the area? Oh, well, then you got a week to prove that you weren't the guy.
They used that phrase several times in the story, that he had to prove that he didn't do it. Well, you don't have to prove you didn't do it.
That is flipped what this nation is based on its
completely
head.
Flipped justice upside down in this country. It's
scary.
It's unconstitutional. Stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Between that and another jihad item, the civil asset forfeiture.
Yep.
This is not America anymore. If we don't stand up and say enough, which we are doing now on civil asset, several people have gotten their money back. We were talking yesterday about the guy who lost $81,000 or $82,000, got his money back. And then some woman in Wyoming who lost $470,000.
Some guy, yeah.
It was a guy?
Yeah.
Was ordered by the Supreme Court in Wyoming to give the money back.
I mean, it's 7 years too late.
7 years of having $470,000 of her.
You know, when you go to court, they say stuff like, "Well, you can't use that past crime, evidence or whatever in this court case. And that's exactly the leap they made to take this guy's cash. Well, look, I mean, he was obviously involved with drugs, 8 years previous? Okay, but that has nothing to do with this case.
Right.
So, I mean, they are guilty until proven innocent is the way.
And the question I hear all the time from people is, because they'll think about it for a minute, and they'll think, well, okay, but why did they have $470,000 with them?
Don't care.
None of your business.
Don't care.
That's none of your business.
It seriously, I don't care.
It is not against the law in the United States of America to carry around $470,000 in cash with you if you want. I mean, I could carry $7 billion in cash with me if I wanted to.
Oh man,
if I had it,
I would really nurture this friendship more if that were the case. I'll tell you that.
Right.
But see, it's so unusual now to have more than $10 in your wallet.
Yeah.
Because we are making ourselves a cashless society without the aid of a government or something like that. It's scary.
So it is suspicious when somebody's got that kind of money.
So when they see that, I don't care. Dave Ramsey says use cash, so put that in your pipe.
All right. Let me tell you about home title lock. Here's another problem that is really tough to deal with in this high-tech age, because all of our mortgages are stored online now. Our home's title is online. And so when thieves get access through these data breaches to all of our information, they're able to take that and transfer your home's title into their name. And it makes it look like you sold them your home. And you don't know anything about this. You don't even know what's happening until they've taken out a massive loan against your home, against your mortgage, and you start getting stuck with the payments. You're like, wait a minute, what? So there's no insurance program that deals with this. No bank program, no identity theft program to protect you. Just home title lock. That's who does this. And they do it well. They cast a net around your home's title. So if any action goes on that looks suspicious, they let you know, and they call you and say, hey, is this you trying to sell your home? So if you're getting credit card or loan robocalls or email, that's a real problem. Home Title Lock will get you through this period with 60 risk-free days of protection. Register your address now. Verify you're not already a victim and protect your home's title. Go to HomeTitleLock.com. That's HomeTitleLock.com.
Hey, Pat, I took it upon myself to add geo-fencing warrants to the
jihad?
Pat Gray jihad list.
Yes.
I saw you set that story aside.
Yes.
You got some more work to do with that, I can tell.
Yes.
You going to take that over next door?
Yep.
Okay.
That needs to be discussed. 888-900-3393. Use that tomorrow. See you then.